Hooters Air puts the fun back into flying.
Wait a minute.
Hooters girls on every flight.
Hooters had an airline?
All leather seats with extra legroom. Call 1-888-FLY-HOOT.
You might not have known about Hooters Air because it didn't last long.
There you go.
It started in 2003, and initially the airline was successful, but it shut down just 3 years later.
We're at the Gary Chicago International Airport where Hooters Air is about to make their maiden flight to Myrtle Beach.
Based in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, it offered low-price direct flights to more than 15 destinations in the U.S. Airfares were a flat rate of $129 each way. So why did Hooters think it was a good idea to start an airline? And why did it fail?
If you like what you see here on the outside, you're gonna love what you'll see on the inside.
Hooters was founded by 6 businessmen in Clearwater, Florida in 1983. A year later, an Atlanta-based group led by Bob Brooks saw the company's potential and bought it outright.
It was the first restaurant chain, so basically they pioneered the idea that they're going to have all their waiters wear short shorts and really tight tank tops.
Do you know why our beer is so cold here at Hooters? Because we keep it in the refrigerator.
From kind of the 80s until the early 2000s, it was a very successful kind of growing business.
By 2003, Hooters was flush with cash, and Bob Brooks wanted to expand the brand. So he bought a small North Carolina-based charter airline called Pace Airlines. He repainted the airplanes with the company logo, and Hooters Air took off.
What would you tell people out there watching the show about flying Hooters Air?
You should definitely do it. It's an experience like no other.
By yourself?
It's going to be the most exciting time of your life.
I'm probably one of the few pilots who can say I actually went to pilot heaven.
This is the voice of a former Hooters Air pilot. He asked to remain anonymous.
There was a lot of intrigue about this airline, not because of necessarily what was going on the inside, but more so what people perceived from the outside.
It's going to be a nice change from the restaurant. Instead of serving food and all that stuff and picking up trash, we get to just basically entertain, ask trivia questions and all that.
A common misconception about Hooters Air was that the flight attendants on the flights were Hooters girls. Not exactly. In addition to the 2 Hooters girls on every flight, there were 3 FAA certified flight attendants.
The flight attendants are the ones who serve all the food and the drinks per usual. I had a professional uniform. I had like a navy blue dress, it was very professional. It had the little owl embroidered emblem on it. We just did the safety procedures and stuff like that. And then we had 2 Hooter girls from different restaurants in the area, but they had no training whatsoever. They were just there just for passenger fun.
What is it all going to include? You guys are going to be up there serving customers?
No wings.
No wings.
But great food.
But great food.
Yeah, we got some soft pretzels, and we got some like pigs in a blanket, and maybe some fruit,
The 2 Hooters girls would get up during the flight and do like trivia or little games or like sing a song. I think they just sat in their seat the whole time until it was their 5 minutes to get up. And that was it. And the rest of the time us flight attendants are working.
Were there ever any incidents that you witnessed of harassment or customers getting a little too inebriated?
I never saw any kind of harassment. There was definitely flirtiness. Any flight, you're always going to come across some people that have drank too much, but nothing bad. It was fun. We did our job right. It was just very happy memories.
Fares from $99. Convenient morning departures and evening returns.
Hooters Air helped out smaller airports like the one in Gary, Indiana, just 25 miles southeast of Chicago.
That's good news. More airline service, more activity, more economic development, more jobs, more people spending money in Northwest Indiana and
good news.
Southern Chicagoland. So it's very good news, yeah.
And it was a major economic boon to one city in particular, Myrtle Beach.
In its heyday, Hooters Air was bringing between 3,000 and 5,000 people a week into the Myrtle Beach area. Hooters Air was more than just an airline. It was a huge philanthropic contribution to the Myrtle Beach area by Mr. Brooks, who had a vision that the Myrtle Beach area could grow and expand and evolve as a tourism destination and a business community.
Hooters Air was big for Myrtle Beach, but it wasn't enough to keep it airborne. So Hooters shut it down in 2006, citing a $40 million loss.
It was compounded by a couple of factors. They started the airline still as the airline industry was recovering from the 9/11 attacks, people were still scared of getting on airplanes. There was growing low-fare competition in the market as Southwest and other airlines had begun to expand. And jet fuel prices were trending upwards, so it wasn't an economically viable business.
Hooters chairman Bob Brooks passed away in 2006, the same year that Hooters Air shut down.
There are people at work and people enjoying the Myrtle Beach area that might never have had the opportunity to do so if it weren't for Bob Brooks. So we remain very grateful for his investment in his airline and our community.
Despite the failure of Hooters Air, the Hooters brand continued to thrive.
They've opened hundreds of locations in the U.S. and outside of the U.S. They are more than a $250 million business, basically, at this point, and they kind of took over the U.S. and then the world.
Oftentimes going into cities would be on an approach, and we'd hear the air traffic controller say, do you have the Hooters airplane in sight? And if you do, follow that aircraft. Well, other pilots would often say things like, you mean the airplane with the big Hooters? We have it in sight. So